sound so we can interact with you. Welcome, everyone, to Heart Navigating Lipedema Together. I'm Lisa Duerre, and I'm here with Dr. Catherine Seo, and we're here to be with you and have a heart to heart. Catherine, I have my coffee mug today. Share your heart, right? I was like, wait, this is what we do. We drink our coffee, have our tea. We're going to have a heart to heart. So we're going to talk about navigating lipedema together. And, we're back because you asked us to come back. So I can't wait to dive into today's topic. Catherine, what do you want to say to kick us off?
It's been, so we are here live on Monday morning, and it's really the beginning of our week. And hopefully, and for some of you, the beginning of your week. And I was reflecting over this weekend, Lisa. Oh my goodness. I actually was talking to a friend of mine who said to me, like, what are you doing over the weekend? And I thought to myself, and I'm like, well, I'm resting. I'm watching a movie. I'm, taking some time to meditate and reflect. And, what my friend said is, oh my goodness, she said, you haven't done that in years. And I realized that my work ethic is such that work always takes priority. And I can see, as we've been working with the community and chatting about all of this, that I've started to take more self-care time, even though we teach it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the thing about the shoemakers? Kids are the ones that don't have, that need, new shoes. Well, it's the same thing. And I have to say, I had such a breakthrough. I had such a breakthrough. I woke up this morning and I felt truly rested. And I thought we could dive into this whole thing because there's so many of us that don't take the time for the kind of care of ourselves that we need. And even all of what we do in order to manage lipedema, if we do everything, we could be busy 10 hours a day.
Oh, just on lipedema care, much less running your household
Yeah,
or, parenting or elder
right.
caregiving or working.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I love this topic. I mean, my other podcast is called Control Alt Delete. It's about rebooting from burnout, right? So
Mhm.
it's near and dear to my heart. We're actually doing something really great this week for the heart guides who were the breakout guides at our 3-day Lipedema Simplified Heart to Heart conference. And I said to Gail, I want to pour into the heart guides. I want to give them the burnout prevention tips that we give our leaders, right, on the RLD group side. And I think it's a very important conversation today, Catherine, because the only reason I talk about burnout is I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, not once, not twice, 3 times, right? And so we know, and then something hits us upside the head or sideways, we lose track, we stop focusing because we're busy, 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 and here we are again. So managing lipedema can cause burnout. It's true, right? Even Google searching on what to do about lipedema can cause burnout. That's why I'm so glad Lipedema Simplified has everything in one place, right? You bring it all there so we don't have to go do the Google search. But
Mhm.
let's let everyone's voice in here. You guys want to talk about burnout today? Drop it in the chat. Let us know where you're coming from. I see Elisa from Manitoba. Hello. And Anne Marie is here from New Jersey. I'd love to know where you're at, and I'd love to hear your stories as we share ours, because this is a heart-to-heart chat. So it's hard for me to talk about sometimes that I've burnt out more than once, because I really had this opinion that I should have it all figured out and do it once and, figure it out and be done. But Catherine, I burnt out when I was working in tech. I burnt out after becoming a new mom. And I did burn out when I figured out I had lipedema. I've done it 3 times, and I think it's really important that we presence that. So, Jackie's here from Washington. Karen's from Michigan. I'm so glad you're all here, everyone. Um,
Do you know,
Now I don't
Lisa?
know, when you said you had this breakthrough, how many times have you burnt out? Do you count?
Um, I've just, to be honest with you, I think I was in a constant state of burnout. It wasn't an event, it was a process an
Mhm.
ongoing process where I would, when I made the documentary film, I was working sometimes 18 hours a day, and I just went on and on and on. And I can remember one actually leadership event that I was involved in. And I was actually out of the country with a group of leadership development folks. And I can remember saying, well, you know what? I can sleep next month.
Yeah. Oh, I used to say that too. I'll just sleep later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like that was one of the first things I learned when I actually took my medical leave. I love this that we have this in common. Took my medical leave. The doctor put me out and was like, when's the last time you slept? I'm like, I sleep 2 hours a night, 3 hours a night. He's like, that's not sleep. And I remember when I let myself sleep, I slept for weeks, 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I would take my daughter to preschool, go back home and hop in bed, and then
Hmm.
I'd wake up before pickup because I didn't want her to. I don't know. I was worried she'd worry in preschool, like she even knew what burnout was. But wanted to be that mom with everything together. But I slept all day.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's restorative, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the holistic care practices at Lipedema Simplified. Is how's your sleep?
Hmm.
Hmm.
And what's interesting, I really need to share this with everyone because I'm kind of blown away. So, as I said, I woke up this morning rested, but I also woke up. I have had a um, issue that like when there's something going on, trying to put the pieces together,
Hmm.
like there are all these disparate pieces that I sometimes look at and I'm like, well, how does this fit? How does that fit? I know it all fits together, but I don't know how. And the more that I struggled with it, and the more elusive it was, I woke
Hmm.
up this morning and the whole thing was like boom. It was like
Wow.
putting all the jigsaw puzzle pieces together, and all of a sudden seeing the relationship of, this is high level leadership stuff I'm talking about,
Hmm.
how things fit. And I was like, well, I just kept saying to my staff, I kept saying, I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon about this. I
Yeah.
was like, yay. And so there's a funny thing, and this is me. I'm not sure. I'm curious if it's others, that I think if I work harder, I'll come up with the solutions. And interestingly enough, when I step back, when I give it some space, when I rest, when I'm easy and kind and gentle and embracing of myself in the process,
Hmm.
the answer just emerges.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm over the moon for you because this topic is, as you know, something that matters so deeply to me. And one of the things we teach is that we as humans typically are trying to solve a problem, right? And solving a problem will get you back to neutral because it's a problem, you want to fix it. And so the thoughts that go with that are really important. And many times when we're, staying in our head and pushing hard and keep going, the thoughts are, why can't I figure it out? What's wrong with me? Why can't I cope? Why is this so hard? And those types of questions cause people to stay stuck. It really does. So if you find yourself, even with your lipedema care or navigating for advocating at work, why can't I do this? Why is this so hard? Why do I have to? Those why questions will send you somewhere. It's a lens, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
we work on and what I try and do for myself, and I'm not perfect. So I definitely have days like, why is this so hard? But it's like, how might I? What becomes possible if, right? And so for me, the sleep part is what becomes possible when I rest. I think we talked about this last week with Diana. I'm better when I rest. I'm at my best when I rest, was what I said.
Mm-hmm.
So, what becomes possible when I rest? How might I give myself a moment to pause, right? And so, looking at the possibility and asking yourself, how might I instead of why? Why means you have to have an answer.
Mm-hmm.
How might I is how do you open this up so that you can be more innovative, right? And one of the things I've noticed when we work together, Catherine, is we're just better when we talk. We can send each other emails all day, but we get on the phone for 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and I feel unstuck much faster.
Yeah.
So for me, sometimes it's like, oh, how might I feel better? I'm going to call Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
How about for you? What are the questions that you that don't serve you versus questions that might open you up?
I think it's the single focused. It's the myopic view.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure about the question, but it's the I gotta figure this out. I got to figure this out. I have got to figure this out. You can hear it.
Yep.
It's like, oh, and and of course, so much of it for me has to do with lipedema and all of the complexities, even from a research perspective. Like I see pieces of it, and it's like at some point, I just want it. Well, that's what's happening. It's starting to fit together now,
Mm-hmm.
and to see the relationships of what seemingly disrelated. Like, here's the thing that I find fascinating. I know I'm not answering your question, but
No, we're having a heart to heart. This isn't this how it goes in heart to hearts?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It's this. It's that if you follow the trail, I feel like all of life is like, you just follow the trail. It will take you to the next step. And if you can be observing, I should just say it like when I can be observing, when I can notice, when I can begin to look at things from different angles, but I can't do that when I'm hyper vigilant, when I'm hyper focused, when I'm so determined. It's when I begin to let go. And I think that's the thing around burnout. What takes me to burnout is a determination and unwillingness in some ways to put it down. Because what I find again and again and again, it's when I can let go that something new begins to make itself known. That's happened so many times.
Yeah, it's interesting when I want to just say hi to a bunch of people because they're all here listening, and I think this is important because
Mm-hmm,
this is the wisdom in the system. We've always heard you talk about the wisdoms in the patient, and
mm-hmm,
the wisdom is in the team too. The
mm-hmm,
wisdom is in the organization, and so this community has the wisdom, right?
mm-hmm.
So Juanetta is here. Oh, yep, so cute. Look at your comes and sits on your shoulder like a butterfly. The solution. I love this. First,
Yeah.
Juanetta, I thought you were talking about Bella the kitty, but you're talking about being in flow. I love it so much. And then
Mm-hmm.
Christine's here from Minnesota. Hi, Jody. Liza and Brendan are here. Jackie, Karen. Oh, I'm so glad you're all here. So I think this is so important, Catherine, because one of the things that I want to highlight and help us all have a conversation around is leaders and employers are feeling the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get back to the office. We have to do it this way. How much, it has to get done, right? What do you mean you need more time off? What do you mean surgery is going to take you 3, 4, 5 weeks of recovery? What do you mean compression, needs to be covered by insurance? Like all of the things that affect you in the workplace too. It's the same thing for these leaders. So if I may, I want to present something that really I think is important for this conversation. And
Mm-hmm.
then let's dive into that because I think burnout happens when the organization, the system isn't flexible enough or curious enough to be able to figure out how might we as a team get this work done. So I want to share some statistics that I've been talking about a lot. And we mentioned that my speaker page came up and I've been talking about disabilities in the workplace. Now, here's the thing. The CDC is saying that up to 1 in 4 adults have some type of disability in the United States.
I'm going
27%.
to share the infographic as
Yeah,
you.
we'll get there. Let me just share some statistics first because once they go to the link, we're not going to have the conversation.
Oh no,
We're gonna,
I'm going to show it so they can see it as you talk.
oh, you're going to share your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, well, look at us having a heart to heart. Okay, we're going to pull this up. So we're going to give you the link. I just want to plant the seed for us all to think about this for a minute about why you might be burning out too, because people don't talk about this, right? So 1 in 4 adults have some type of disability. The number one disability is mobility. It's impairing of mobility, 12.1%. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. There we go. Okay. 12.1%. Serious difficulty walking or climbing stairs. Anybody got serious difficulty walking or climbing stairs? Yeah. This isn't a lipedema graphic. This is a United States graphic, okay? 12.1%, all right? When you go down further, the disability and health, adults with disabilities are more likely, the number one, have obesity. 41.6 adults with disability have obesity. Okay? So you can see the picture I'm painting here. And then lastly, this is where I want to go. You can burn out trying to find a doctor. You can burn out trying to find a doctor who gets it. Look at this. 1 in 4 adults with disabilities do not have a usual healthcare provider. 1 in 4 adults with disabilities have an unmet healthcare need because of cost in the past year. And 1 in 5 adults with disabilities did not have a routine checkup in the past year. So, thank you for sharing that, Catherine. We're going to drop this in the chat so you have access to it. But this is where I want to go today when I look at it's so cool to see your behind the scenes screen here. This is a heart to heart. I want to lean in. We all know this because we're feeling it, but it's not just lipedema, everyone. 1 in 4. And look at the connection with obesity and mobility. If we can start having these conversations, imagine what's possible in the workplace, in your home, in your community, at your churches, in your choir groups, at your sports leagues, because burnout can happen because you don't have the basic access to healthcare, the basic understanding of what it takes for you to climb those stairs. Anyway, my TED Talk is over for a minute, Catherine. I'd love for you to comment, but this is where I want to go today.
I go to that. This is why we are here. What Lisa said and shared. It's like so many of us come to community in terms of with our lipedema, not knowing, not having so much vagueness about what to do, how to move forward. And so, I mean, I constantly find that in our interactions, like Lisa said, she'll call me and we'll talk it through. We talk it through with the community. We have all kinds of support structures. That's why we do it. There's something, especially for some of us, maybe more than others. You and I are extroverts. There are some that are introverts, but even the introverts process and then at some point need to check out the reality of it. And I think I just want to emphasize that you don't need to do it alone. You just don't. Mm-hmm. And I want to do a quick ask. And the ask is, give me a second. We have a provider directory. And our provider directory has been, it started in, I can't believe it, but it's true, in 2013. So it's been 11 years in process. I'm going to share my screen because we want to, Lisa and I both want to ask you if you could. Okay, now I'm going here. Here is this is on our Lipedema Project website. As you can see, there are different color markers. So red is for a physician or doctor, blue is for a surgeon, alternative medicine fitness is yellow. We don't have as many of those as I would like. MLD compression, we have lymphatic therapists. So essentially, this has been built by the community. What that means is someone goes to a doctor or a surgeon and says, this is great. So what we're asking is for people, if there's someone you know that you personally would recommend, we want to add them to our directory because this is how we support one another and how we encourage each other to get the support that's needed medically as well.
One of the things I think that's so How many stories have I heard about people figuring it out because of this directory? Like the
Mhm.
Lipedema Project directory has been around for over, what'd you say, 12 years?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
11, 12
Yeah,
years.
it's so interesting when I see people on like TikTok and Instagram, showing this directory and saying, "Here's how I found my doctor." And the thing that blows my mind is just how easy it is to support each other. So when
Mhm,
we go back to those disability statistics, and we know people don't have doctors, they don't have, there's cost prohibitive things going on for them. The least we can do is all support each other. One, give back to the community, to the lipedema sister that is to update that,
mhm,
right? For sure. And I think it ties into, and I want to bring up Christine's comments here. She's talking about, in the words of the early days, old tech world, when you rest, you can defrag your hard drive. And I think one of the things you can rest into is that we've got you, right? And we were talking about burnout and from just trying to figure out what your right next step is. So yeah, we can defrag the hard drive. We can control alt delete, as I like to say. We can reboot. And I think the one thing that I talk about a lot in corporate land and when I'm talking with lipedema groups, patients, our community, when you have someone to talk it over with, like I said, I call Catherine, you feel less alone and you resource yourself to get out of the fight, flight, freeze space you're in where you're stuck. And then you can breathe new life into it. Just saying, I'm stuck. Maybe I can't find a doctor. Well, let's go on the directory together and figure it out. Right. So I just think that one of the most important things we can do as we look at how to prevent burnout with a chronic illness that the world is starting to understand, but we have a way to go, everyone, is supporting each other. That's why we're doing heart to heart. I mean, I guess this is a burnout prevention podcast, Catherine. I didn't think about it that way. But in,
mhm.
in, in one sense it is.
Lisa, you've done such amazing work in this area and continue to do. If you were to share the one, two, or three things that have been most meaningful for you in being able to redirect and get so much more out of your life, what would you tell people?
Do you mean as far as navigating lipedema as a business owner and a mom? Is that what you mean?
No, I mean, how do you prevent burnout with a chronic disease
Oh, yeah.
and living a life?
Mhm.
What mom, work, relationship, whatever you need. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah. So, what are the things that you found? Because you are an expert in preventing burnout.
Well, I would say I'm an expert in burning out and learning how to prevent it because I can tell you last year was hard.
Mm,
Last year for me was really hard.
mm-hmm,
I had a family member get diagnosed with breast cancer,
mm-hmm,
another family member get diagnosed with Alzheimer's. We have middle school going on in my household,
mm-hmm,
and I was knee deep in navigating lipedema and running a business and working with you. And everything was important. Everything was important except for me.
mm-hmm,
And so I was not making smart decisions at times in our business. I was running off of fear and lack of sleep. On RLD side, I was making good decisions over here.
mm-hmm,
But I was spinning. I was really spinning in anxiety and worry. And what I learned last year was that as much as I was doing for my body, because I was pumping 3 times a day and wearing my compression, what I wasn't doing was pausing to breathe. I
mm-hmm,
wasn't going outside for, like, time in nature, even if I was just sitting in a chair. I was running around that I was letting everybody down, and I wasn't gonna let that happen.
mm-hmm,
And yet I was letting everybody down, and I was letting that happen, even though in my brain, somehow I was like, "Well, no, that's not the reality." So what I've learned in the past year a lot is that I have to schedule breaks.
mm-hmm,
So from I own my own consulting firm, right? Well, why am I not scheduling breaks? It's my company. So I've been working on that, and you've seen me not work weekends.
mm-hmm,
You've seen me be present with my family on weekends. The other thing that I've really think the crux of it for me, the shift was that I started owning my own narrative.
Mhm.
So I started talking more about lipedema
Mhm.
and the challenges I'm facing and how hard it is to, book travel, to find a seat you can fit in, to have a wheelchair when the airport's really big, to, worry about what people are gonna think about you, even though why do I care? But
Mhm.
I do,
Mhm.
especially as a public speaker and a business owner. So I would say the 3 things. Here's 3 things now that I've extroverted my thinking to get clear. Thank you for following along the popcorn trail. Number 1 was really figuring out that my self-care, I was phoning it in. I
Mhm.
wasn't taking it seriously enough. The second was asking for help in my family, with you, with the team, my team, this team, all the teams, like, asking for help was really big. And I started saying no instead of just saying yes because I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So my no's were like, "No, and here's why. I'm
Mhm.
really fatigued today," or "My legs really hurt." Um, and I started figuring out how how can I get more rest, right? Because I used to be diligent about in my lymphatic pump at 6 in the morning, and there's days I'm really tired, so I hit the snooze and I don't get up that early. That's
Mhm.
okay. It doesn't make me a failure. It's okay, Lisa, right? So listening to my body was I guess maybe that's the foundation of it all is honoring and listening to my body and not judging it for having needs. Did I
Mm.
answer your question?
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And they're not hard things, but they're hard to do. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I didn't wanna let anybody down,
yeah.
ever. I mean, I think we all know that we don't, and when I'm thinking about this, the thing that you have always said, which I think is I'm still learning, Catherine, is around befriending our body.
Mhm.
'Cause our body's been trying to talk to us, right? And the burnout happens when the anxiety for me kicks in and I start to breathe more shallow, which isn't good for my lymph, right? Tell myself stories that it's all gonna fall apart and
Mm.
then just remembering that I'm capable, I'm smart, I have people around me who love me. I'm very blessed that way, and so it doesn't feel as big as it does in your own head
Mhm.
when it comes to the urgency, I think that's why people run to surgery. I know I was doing that. I found out lipedema. I saw a bunch of people having surgery. I was like, "I better do that." And then, by the grace of all the divine spirits that I can think of, as I found you guys,
Mm.
and your conversation with me was, surgery is an option, but it doesn't cure lipedema. So let's really get clear on what's going on in your body so that if you do go the surgery path, you're really prepared. And that's
Mhm.
been 2 years, Catherine, and I'm
Mhm.
walking better, and there's a whole bunch that is gone for
Mhm.
me. But I was burning out just trying to figure out where's the right surgeon, how can I get it covered, and how fast can I go? This is so scary, like, that
Mhm.
doesn't serve us with this disease. We have to slow down
Mhm.
and be really curious with what's going on, and then invite the wisdom of the community in to help guide us in our own journeys.
I'm so glad you shared that, Lisa. When I started, I thought I just have to share that I thought surgery was the panacea. It was the magic bullet. It was, you know, the ultimate ride at Disneyland, and you get finished with it, and you're like in La La Land that everything is going to be hunky dory forever. And it was so far from that. That the bottom line is it takes hard work, it takes attention, and you can't do that without a kind of balance. And that's what not going into burnout allows. It allows for a gentle balance and care
Mhm.
for self and those we love, for ourselves and those we love. But we have to include ourselves as part of those we love.
Yeah. You know, I've been listening to you, and I think one of the things I wanted presence that I didn't even really grasp when we bought our house, which I'm blessed to own our house, right? We bought our house in Oregon, and it's a split level house. And I've always had a ranch style house, like a single story.
Mhm.
Even my apartments were on the bottom floor, right? And here I sit with this evolution in my body that I didn't understand. And going up, I have to do stairs in my house.
Uh-huh.
And I think that contributed to my burnout too, just feeling hopeless and like, how in the heck am I going to navigate this? And I've talked about it before, but I started asking my family for help, and we started organizing our life into stories. So my office where I'm right now is downstairs. I'll be down here all day.
Uh-huh.
I'll go back up at the end of the day, so I don't have to keep going up and down all day.
Uh-huh.
But I think about the 12% with the mobility, right, and stairs being such a thing that you can burn out just beating yourself up like, well, why did I choose to live here? I can't change it. And we're now looking at different ways we can.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so when we're stuck with why and how come versus how might we, or what becomes possible if we find a different pathway, I think that's just such an important thing to top. That's the cherry on top today.
Uh-huh.
So what are we know we have an ask. Please help us update this directory, help your community, help this community.
We're going to send out an email to the entire community and invite them into this next iteration of the directory. So if you're not already on our mailing list, get on our mailing list at lipedemaproject.org. Join the email list. It's really simple.
It is simple. And let's pull up Juaneta's comment here. I think, Gail, do you see it? It's about, I'm considering selling my townhouse. I'm fine for now, but thinking about I think it's, I don't know is that thinking about let's see. I think what you're saying here, Juaneta, is you're wanting to be as independent as you can, right? And that the townhouse, I'm assuming, may be later on in life really hard. And so you're thinking about it now, that's burnout prevention. You're planning ahead, my friend. This is great. Thank you, Juaneta. Old age. Oh, I got it. Got it. Thinking about old age and staying independent. Yes, indeed. Gotcha. So talk about a heart to heart. We went all over from burnout prevention to our own stories of limiting beliefs and stuck spots. And we've been thinking about all the disability statistics that inform the world. And so I think employers, please get curious. Talk to your teams, leaders. Know that what's going on behind that Zoom screen or in that office, there's way more than you're aware of. People don't want to lose their jobs or not do a good job. They don't want to let you down. And people have things going on that impact their ability to be fully present and at their best. So I'm glad we have this community and we have these heart to hearts, Catherine, because this is how we support each other. Final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to folks. We did this podcast for 6 weeks as a lead-in to our event that happened in April. And then at the end of it, our last one was April 15th. We basically went off the air and we got so many requests. So we want to say thank you for having this be a valuable resource for you guys, because really we're all in this heart to heart. We're here to be here for one another, and that will always be so.
All right, everyone. Well, from us, Dr. Catherine Sayo and Lisa Duerre here today, we say thank you. Thank you for your chats, for dropping it in. If you've liked this episode, please share the replay. We will be promoting it in a podcast platform at a later date, but the replays are live now, so feel free to share it. Join our mailing list. Let us know your updates for the directory, and know that you're not alone. This is Heart to Heart, navigating lipedema together. Talk to you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye.